Hey everybody, it's Spicy Kai. Today I'd like to talk to you about America's missing black children and women and what's being done to bring more media attention to them. If this is a topic that interests you, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. And also hit the subscribe so you'll get notified every time I drop another video about the missing black children in America. Now, let's get to the content.
It's very hard living day to day, not knowing where your child is.
The woman you just saw in that clip is Paula Hill. She's the mother of missing black girl Shemika Cosey, who disappeared without a trace in 2008. St. Louis, Missouri police refused to look for her because they assumed she ran away. However, her mother says that even if she took off on her own, she didn't mean to be gone for 10 years. Parents like her and loved ones of other missing black children spoke with ABC News. They say that just a fraction of the press used to look for Natalee Holloway, Elizabeth Smart, Laci Peterson, and other missing Caucasian women could do a world of good for finding the missing black girls in America.
On December the 28th, 2008, that was the last day that I seen her.
You've come back to this neighborhood a number of times.
Oh, yeah.
Her daughter was here, just outside St. Louis, watching movies with her cousins when everyone woke up the next morning and discovered she was gone. She was 16 years old, a door was unlocked, and police believe she ran away, so they never searched for the girl.
They not doing anything because they think she gone on her own. I don't know what to do.
Shemika Cosey's story was different in the sense that she vanished without a trace.
Chandrea Thomas is a local news anchor and reporter who produces a podcast documenting forgotten cases of missing black Americans. This was one of her first.
Her belongings, her overnight bag was still left on the counters in the house, and she was never seen again.
She says police and the press often dismiss black cases as runaways.
It has been difficult to get some of these stories told when it comes to missing people of color, cold cases involving people of color. And I felt like if I can do my part as far as having this podcast, I can tell any story I want about whoever I want, however I want, for however long I want to.
At the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Director Robert Lowry told us that roughly 800,000 Americans go missing each year.
What percentage of those are African American or of color?
About 60% of the reports that we see here in the U.S. that go in those databases.
More than half.
Well over half. It really breaks a lot of commonly held thought on who are really the missing children in the U.S.
Yes, you heard that right. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, about 800,000 Americans disappear every year. But a whopping 60% of all the people reported to the Bureau are people of color. Now, if you're interested in the math behind that, that's roughly about 480,000 missing people of color added to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children database every single year. Black Americans only make up about 13.4% of the entire U.S. population, according to a 2018 U.S. Census Bureau report. Yet 30% of all reported missing persons in 2018 were black, and only about 1/5 of those cases ever made it into the news. Of the estimated 327,167,434 people in the U.S., only 43,840,436 are black. Of the 800,000 Americans who go missing every year, a whopping 480,000 are people of color. Of the estimated 480,000 missing people of color in America, only 96,000 ever make the news, and for the most part, that coverage is very limited. Black families searching for missing kids say that their loved ones are usually labeled as runaways. Police and media make loved ones feel as if their missing children are somehow not worth the attention. And even when they are runaways, shouldn't their loved ones still expect the media and police to react? They search for and rescue little white girls who run away all the time. In the past few years, there have been dozens of missing kid cases with massive search efforts on the ground that make national headline news. However, the common thread among most of these big news cases is that they involve missing white people. When Mariah Woods, a 3-year-old white girl, went missing in Jacksonville, North Carolina, at least 2 black children in a neighboring county were also missing. Yet, only the missing white girl had over 700 people searching for her on foot. And the news coverage over her case went national.
Teens taking off, running away from home. The average age of a runaway in Omaha is 15 years old. So why aren't they all on the news? Well, it starts with police who say unless there's a crime, there's only so much they can do.
This idea that she ran away, you don't believe that?
No. Do I believe she left her home with someone? Yes. But she was intending to come back. She was not intending to stay gone for 10 years.
We are in front of the Berkeley Police Station. This is the police department that was investigating this case. We ended up sitting down with Major Art Jackson, who is, of course, African American, and defends the way police are handling the case. How come the police never did a search on this?
There was no evidence to support a physical search. This is one of the hardest things to investigate as a missing person, especially if a person is missing with, like I said, with no signs of anything, just voluntarily walks away. Now, if a person is missing, they've been kidnapped or anything like that, you're going to have signs of struggle. You're going to have things to go by to help you put that pieces of the puzzle together. So in reality, sometimes law enforcement and sometimes media, we like, hey, that person did it voluntarily. So that's on them.
The mystery, and there are dozens of missing persons cases that I've followed over the last few years where the effort on the ground and on the airwaves was massive and hopeful. But all of these cases had one significant thing in common. The victims were white Americans. I was one of the reporters covering 17-year-old Caitlin Fresina in 2017, who went missing in Florida. At the same time, 14-year-old Yania Javon Carter disappeared near Atlanta. Carter didn't get half the media attention, but luckily she was found alive. Paula Hill, she and her other 2 children have submitted DNA samples to a national registry, praying for a match.
And this is her big sister.
And when she's down, she looks through these memories of the daughter she's missing and finds her joy.
I still have hope that one day I'm going to find my child.
We got more than an earful from this group of parents and loved ones of missing black children in Washington, D.C. They told us they'd take a fraction of the compassion and attention that went to the families of Natalee Holloway, Elizabeth Smart, Laci Peterson, and so many others. When you see me as an African American in this country out covering these cases over and over again of missing white children, it's depressing to you.
Yes, I know how many missing people of color that are missing. I would say, well, do he do his homework to talk about us?
Yeah, it pissed me off to see you reporting somebody's child other than mine. Me and this person's child can go missing around the same time. But I had to fight to get mine on local news, and this person's on national news with the FBI overnight.
Exactly.
They want America to take a greater interest in these names: Unique Harris, Christian Muse, Relisha Rudd, Keisha Jacobs, and Terrence Woods Jr., who went missing last October.
No, and he was with 11 other people, but he's the only one that went missing without a physical trace. I don't even like walking down the hall going towards his room. The sheriff department or nobody is really helping out.
Terrence Woods Jr. went missing last fall in the forests of Ora Grande, Idaho, where he was shooting a documentary. Within a week, police ended the search, saying no leads were obtained and no signs of Mr. Woods have been located in the search area. They also say they're continuing to monitor the situation. His father says they've told him nothing since.
I think a lot of people get the misunderstanding that we immediately get help from the police department. That's not the case.
So, a number of you have been dealing with this for years. What advice do you give to this father who's 4 months in?
I'm gonna tell you straight up, don't give up. Like you said, don't accept nothing nobody say. Can't nobody tell you no, and you keep fighting until you can't fight no more.
And remember, that's your child, and nobody, and I mean nobody, is gonna fight for your child like you do.
A 5-year-old girl is missing, and tonight DeKalb County Police hope the public can help find her.
Amaya Blanton was last seen 8 days ago during a visit with her mother. Tonight, investigators, they have a warrant out for her mother, Demisha Davis.
My whole family is distraught.
Grandmother Shonda Blanton says she's worried sick and hasn't slept since 5-year-old Amaya Blanton went missing. DeKalb police searched for the little girl, and the mother they say took her. Sunday night, police want the public's help to bring Amaya home and arrest 25-year-old Demisha Davis.
Called my fiance and his mother. They were in the car together, and I said to him, something doesn't feel right.
Days later, the grandmother tells me she got a frightening text from Davis. Amaya wouldn't be coming home. Police took out a warrant for Davis's arrest for custody interference. Those who love Amaya say they're concerned for her safety. She's 5 years old, 3'9" and 54 pounds. Her family says she was wearing this outfit the last day anyone saw her.
We're here to announce that 3 individuals have been charged with the brutal murder of missing 19-year-old Marlon Ochoa, a wonderful young woman and expectant mother who was 9 months pregnant at the time of her disappearance in late April. For the past 3 weeks, Area South detectives have worked tirelessly following up on leads, interviewing witnesses, and gathering evidence in an attempt to locate Marlon. On the 7th of May, CPD received a break in the missing person investigation and learned that Miss Ochoa was in communication with one of the offenders, which brought us to the area of 77th and Pulaski. Ultimately, DNA evidence and interviews led us to the 3 offenders that are now charged. I'm sad to report that on the 14th of May, detectives executed a search warrant, and our investigation took a terrible turn while at the residence on the 4100 block of West 77th Place. It was there that detectives finally located the remains of a female in a trash can that were later verified to be 19-year-old mother-to-be Marlon Ochoa. Words really cannot express how disgusting and thoroughly disturbing these allegations are.
And there's new hope tonight that 2-year-old Natalee Robinson could be found safe. Police and the FBI are working hard right now to track her down, narrowing their search to 2 locations, either St. Cloud, Minnesota, or Ann Arbor, Michigan. They've been getting tips all day, but those are the 2 places they believe she could be. Police made 2 arrests this afternoon, taking Darius Higgins into custody for homicide. Also arrested an alleged accomplice. Milwaukee police found Higgins near 103rd and Caldwell, just south of Silver Spring. He's accused of killing Sierra Robinson and shooting another woman on Monday near 91st and Mill, then taking 2-year-old Natalee. Police say they received numerous tips as Higgins was on the run.
My sister is laying in the hospital, but we can't deal with our pain because this baby is more important right now. This baby is the seed of everything. This baby has to come home.
According to court documents, Natalee had been living with Higgins while her mother, Sierra Robinson, was living in Las Vegas. Robinson came to town this week to get Natalee. That's when Higgins allegedly killed Sierra.
In other news, a nationwide search for 2-year-old Natalee Robinson came to a tragic end after police found the toddler's body in a ditch in Minnesota. This comes days after her mother, 24-year-old Sierra Robinson, went to Milwaukee from North Las Las Vegas to pick her up and was killed by 34-year-old Darius Higgins, Nolani's father.
Police say 24-year-old Sierra Robinson was killed Monday by 34-year-old Darius Higgins, the father of her child, after traveling from North Las Vegas to Milwaukee to pick up her daughter, 2-year-old Nolani, from Higgins. Days later, the toddler was also found dead.
My sister died at the hand of another man. Safe Nest is for women who have been, a part of domestic violence. And that's big. It's very big because it's a lot of women out there that don't want to speak up and they're scared. My sister was one of them. She was scared. And all she wanted was to get her baby and come back. And she lost her life getting her child. That's crazy.
Sierra Nolani.
At the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, they're bringing in representatives from local law enforcement and the news departments in the D.C. area to point these differences out.
We've initiated a minority children initiative here to examine that very question. Those large-scale searches, in our experience, have been predominantly for Caucasian children, and reasons that we don't always understand.
Natalee and Derica Wilson run a foundation that helps search for missing Black and Hispanic children.
There are so many families of color who are desperately searching for their missing loved one, and they are just asking for just 1 second or a couple of seconds of media coverage, and it can change the narrative for them.
We also understand that the decision makers don't look like us, and so these cases are not sensitive enough where they want to air it.
I declare each name political gospel. Where I'm from, Marianelas always go missing. Somehow, Latoyas are never found. Their bodies stripped from its origin again and again, and a time after that. I want to say the whole world is on fire in their honor. Streets set ablaze, but it is never the world. It is always one block, y abuela llorando en la esquina. The world is too busy responding to Amber Alerts that don't include our own. Meanwhile, our children will never make it back, and this never makes the news. Young Black and brown bodies picked and thrown to the wildest dark. The conversation goes as follows. You mean to say, it is not the time to focus on race. I say, Juliana Otero, Talisha Coles, Deshaun Trickia Wallace, Anaya McNeil. I declare each name political gospel. My tongue dances like a Negro spiritual. We bleed oppression. We mourn our deaths. We bury our own. We declare these names political gospel. Come back to us. Come back. Come home.
Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and share this video so we can get the word out about what's happening with the missing Black women and children here in America. And if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell so you can get updated every time I drop a new video. Thanks again for watching. Spicey out.